Hey, it's Thursday and it's noon and I have new earbuds. I still feel like I'm in a box. I spent way more for these and I think the solution is to take one out. I could have kept the ones that cost way less if I had known that was the solution. But I'm gonna put them in, both in. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully the um, background noise is minimal. And today I thought we would stay with the cooking. I'm back home in my own kitchen. I have all of my equipment and I have my rice cooker. I think you can see it here. Yep, my rice cooker, which I love to cook in. I turn it on and put it on quick rice, and then it will sizzle, saute. I have some garlic and onions ready to chop up, and we're gonna make Three Sisters. Where's the recipe? Yes, I still use a recipe. Three Sisters Native American stew. So I don't know if you know the story of the three sisters, but there were three sisters. I think they got separated or in a fight or something, and they came back together, and they were so happy to be together. And what the Three Sisters in gardening is corn, beans, and squash. And the reason they were planted together was for the nutrients and the things that they could do for each of the plants. So by planting all three seeds in the same hole, the corn offered the beans the necessary support, kind of like an older sister, me. Then the pole beans, the giving sister, pull nitrogen from the air and bring it to the soil for the benefit of all three. And then the large leaves of the sprawling squash would protect the ground and the threesome by creating shade instead of mulch, which we use now, and keep it cool and moist and prevent weeds. The prickly squash leaves also kept away raccoons and other pests so that they didn't eat the harvest before people got to it. So all three of these ingredients go into this stew, and that's why it's called the Three Sister Native Stew. So we have onion, garlic, which of course are not part of the Three Sister group, potatoes, squash, vegetable broth, hominy instead of regular corn. I don't know how many people eat hominy. My dad used to love hominy. He would make it for lunch. He would just put it in a skillet with a little butter, salt, and pepper, and saute it up. And us kids were always eating it. So I buy this size can. Dad's can was probably half that size. You can also buy a commissary size can, but you know what? This is really good. This is really good on your salads. Yum. Just a couple little hints. So we're going to get busy making this. It takes like absolutely no time to make, and you can have dinner in however long it takes you to chop it all up. I did not prepare my butternut squash, so I'll be doing that and adding it after, so you don't have to sit here and watch me struggle with scraping the skin off and chopping it up. But we'll get busy doing the rest of it. And if you're here and you want to comment or ask questions, I got the comments up. I can see them this time. Let me know if you can hear me, and we'll get busy cooking. This is going to be dinner, so got to get it going. I'm using a white onion or a yellow onion instead of a red onion. I'll post the recipe after. And I don't have any Yukon Gold potatoes right now. I'm using all the stuff that I bought while I was on vacation and never got to. This was one of the recipes I was going to make while I was there, and I never got to it. So I used the Yukon Gold potatoes and something else. So I am going to use just a regular white potato and a sweet potato that I had left over. And then, like I said, I have the half a butternut squash from, what did I make with butternut squash? Maybe the chickpea buffalo chili? No, it was the rice and quinoa with the vegetables and the tahini sauce. And it was my intention to cut up the rest and throw it in the freezer. So when I got to this recipe, it would be done, but that didn't happen. So right now I have garlic and onion in there, and it's gonna saute for a little bit, and then I'm gonna add the spices, which are oregano, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder. Then we have green chilies and the potatoes. I'm gonna peel the potatoes while those are getting busy. Even when I'm in my own kitchen, I don't have everything out and ready to go. Every time I peel potatoes, I'm back in my mom's kitchen, my kitchen of origin, peeling potatoes to make mashed potatoes for dinner. Some things you just can't make up. Those things you did from the time you could stand on a stool at the kitchen sink. Peeling potatoes for mashed potatoes was an everyday event in our house. I don't know about you, but we have mashed potatoes for dinner most every night. I can't really remember a night that we didn't have mashed potatoes. Those were the days long before ordering out, getting a pizza. I can remember when, gosh, what company was it? First came out with a pizza kit, and you made the dough from the packaged stuff and put the sauce on and put your cheese on, and we thought we were in heaven. We thought that was pizza. Oh my goodness, I'm aging myself. You know, it just shows that food really does carry a lot of memories. I think sometimes that's why it's so hard for people to change their diet. A statement I learned from Margaret Mead. Someone told me this. I didn't learn it from her directly. It's easier to get people to change their religion than their diet. And I think a lot of it, well, religion has a lot of emotion and memory to it as well, but I just thought that was funny that she the missionary, would say that. So I'm chopping up. I don't know if you can hear background noise or not. I still feel like I'm in a box with these two earphones in. Maybe making another trip back to Best Buy and getting the other ones. That, of course, when I bought them, were on sale for $79, originally $149. And if I could have just taken one out and not had this muffled sound, as opposed to these, which are Bose, and $219, you better believe I'll be getting the jobbers. It just seems like a waste to have to buy two earbuds and then take one out. I guess that's my old German self showing up. That's one potato. I'm going to put a sweet potato in there too. Actually, I could do the sweet potato instead of the squash, but then it wouldn't be Three Sisters, would it? Because what do you need to be Three Sisters? Corn for the support, beans for the nutrition and the nutrients, and squash to provide shade and protection from wild animals who want our food. Sometimes it's okay to plant extra. I know a lot of people who grew up farming and their families had big gardens. They said their dad always planted extra. So that, share the wealth. Sweet potatoes are always harder to peel than white potatoes. Plus, this one's kind of crookedy. This past week when we got home from vacation, I guess it was on Sunday, I made my favorite dish that I wanted to share with y'all while we were on the beach, and that's the red Thai curry vegetable soup, and I have done eaten it all. It's all gone. Bill didn't eat any of it, which is surprising because he's been eating more and more of what I cook. I'm looking for a non-metal spoon. if you followed me at all, you know I don't use oil to saute my vegetables. I usually just use water, but because we're putting vegetable broth in, I like this vegetable broth for the simple reason that I can read all the ingredients. Water, organic carrots, celery, tomatoes, leeks, sea salt, onion powder, garlic, parsley, bay leaf, and thyme. No oil, no preservatives, no sugar. So I'm just going to put that in there, a little bit of that in there, so the carrots or the onions don't stick. Getting that going. Okay, we got potatoes. I'm going to set those aside in a container and chop up the sweet potato. And then we can just put in the spices and open some cans and we'll be done. That easy. This is like my favorite knife. It looks like a lethal weapon, doesn't it? But you can get a lot of chopping done with this knife. Without chopping my fingers off, thank you very much. I used a mandolin once. You notice I said once. I sliced off the tips of 2 fingers and ended up in the ER. Wasn't pretty. Could have been way worse. It was barely the tips. Wasn't, it was these 2, boop boop, and it was just barely. Didn't even get the nail. I was lucky. Of course I didn't have the guard on. Is that what you asked? I was slicing an apple and I was trying to get it started. And I went a little further than I realized. I did more than just a slice or 2. Mandolins are great if you want something really thin and quick. They're really great, but you got to be so careful. And obviously, the guard is for a reason. All right, I'm going to put the spices in. Teaspoon of oregano. And a teaspoon of cumin. My pot is being really quiet, or you know what? Got these earbuds in and I can't hear it. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. And then a teaspoon of cumin. Put that in there. And then we have onion powder and garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of each. Yep, that's half. I don't know about you, but these I think were my mom's. They're old. Probably shouldn't be using them. They're probably made out of something that isn't good for us. But I like using utensils from my mom's kitchen. Or even my mother-in-law's. I have some of her things as well. And, you know, it just brings back memories when you use that stuff. All right, those are in there. So add the spices and heat through. We'll give that a couple seconds to do its thing. I'm going to open the chilies and drain the kidney beans and the hominy. I got out tomatoes, but I don't need those. Do I use the whole can of chilies? Yep. Green chilies. I'm just going to dump them in there. I'm wondering if Bill will eat this. I never know if he'll eat what I make or not. Sometimes he's funny about things with beans in them, but he's been eating more of what I cook. Plus, he likes to throw something on the grill, but that's all right. He's getting the nutrition of whatever I'm cooking, along with what he feels like he wants to eat. It works. Drain those kidney beans. I used to hate kidney beans as a kid. Absolutely hate them. Mom would make chili, long before we knew about Skyline that doesn't have beans in it. You can have them on the side as extra. But she always made chili on the stove with kidney beans. And, ugh, I did not like them. But you know what? Things change. And I do like kidney beans. I can eat them like this. Plain. And not throw up. I don't know, maybe it was a texture thing. Does that change as you get older? You get less concerned about texture? Maybe. I'm going to throw those in there too. And then the hominy, I don't think I need this whole can of hominy, but I may have hominy grits for lunch, just like Dad used to make them. Of course, I'll put a little water in the skillet. Well, maybe I'll put a tad of Earth Balance in there. Just for old time's sake. Just to remember good old Dad. And do it his way. He would have done butter. Butter. Real butter. He didn't do margarine. Margarine was for the kids. Butter was for Dad. He tells a story about when he was a kid, how they had a block of lard, and apparently you added something to it to make it look like butter. And he ended up with just plain lard, so he couldn't talk about memories. He couldn't tolerate the thought of eating margarine because to him it was lard. So he had butter. I just used half the can of hominy. The rest will go in the fridge for another time. I'm going to put the potatoes in. And 2 cups of vegetable broth and 2 cups of water. I think that's it. And then you can add parsley and cilantro. Look how simple that was. Just cooks for 30 to 45 minutes just till the potatoes soften up. I will be chopping up the butternut squash. And adding that. I don't know what a pole bean is, so I don't know what a pole bean is. The recipe called for kidney beans, so I'm going to go with it. 2 cups of vegetable broth. And 2 cups of water. You could throw a few red lentils in here too, if you wanted to. I can't remember how soupy this stew is, if it gets thick. But if you wanted to thicken it up, you could definitely add some red lentils because they cook really quickly. And even the last 10 minutes. If it wasn't as thick as you wanted it to be, you could just add. I'm not going to put all the water in. We'll see how it goes. Alright, close the lid. And because that's on quick rice, it'll start boiling. And it'll be a nice simmer. And I won't even have to look at it. And in 30 minutes, I can turn it off. And dinner will be ready. Hope you enjoyed watching this recipe. If you're not live, maybe you'll watch it later. Any comments? #replay. Next Tuesday, I'm doing my free workshop again. A lot of people weren't able to come last week, and so I wanted to repeat it. And then I'll be introducing my 6-week signature program, beta, at a reduced rate for dealing with a diagnosis and coming out on the other end, not becoming your diagnosis, but living your best life. because isn't that what we're here for? All right. Hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy. I'll post the recipe in the comments.